We sure do make an awful lot of electricity. And most of it seems to be going to our buildings. And the majority of it, 2/3 of it's fossil fuels, and looks like it's going to be that way for here on out. So where does that leave those of us who want to help reduce emissions using our buildings? We're going to need another plan. So let's go over the plans we've got thus far. Plan A is get all the governments in the world together for a week-long conference to talk about what we can do and what we should do. We get all the science together in one spot. We'll get all the wealth together in one spot, all the companies that can make stuff happen in one spot, all the governmental entities that can make things happen in one spot, and we're going to come up with a plan. So this has been going on for a long time, and here's what's really, really valuable about this. The first thing that's valuable is that you get the players involved who need to be involved. The second thing is that you get the best of the best research that will tell us about what the drivers are of this problem and how we can solve this problem in one place at one time to issue a whole range of recommendations that we can choose from. And then the third really cool thing about this is that it allows you and I, as constituents and customers of this universe, to outsource the solution, solving that problem, to people who seem to be able to really handle this in the fastest way possible. Now, it does require a couple of miracles, and it does require perhaps breaking a law of physics or two. So you might want to supplement Plan A with Plan B, which is in the United States, having the producers of power and the folks they work with, which would be state houses and regional authorities, to figure out how to increase renewable resources for generating electricity and reduce fossil fuel consumption, fossil fuel power plants. And that's kind of what we've been doing the last 15 years. And I mean, I'm happy to let that just roll, because you and I as building owners and me as, your architect helping you, build out your dreams, that means we can continue to focus on other things. And the advantage of that plan is, again, we get to outsource to people who are largely responsible for, the primary point of this issue. And those are the folks who would have the expertise to solve it. I mean, we're talking about utility scale plant engineering. We're talking about utility scale electrical management, systems management. I mean, these are highly specialized skills that not too many of us are handy with. It's the right group of people to have come together and make that happen. Well, given where we are, 40 years down the road of trying Plan A and Plan B, I am here to propose the preposterous, insane long shot of Plan C, which is to give building owners the tools they need so that they can look at serious energy reductions per square foot in our buildings. I know, it's crazy. So what might that look like? So look, you own a building, you're a single family homeowner, say, or you're an institutional client. You have several campuses with several hundred buildings. You're somebody who owns or is in charge of one of the largest buildings in the world down the street. You have, you're an international corporation that has property management contracts with buildings all over the world. Your portfolio under your management is, measured into the tens of thousands of buildings, if not hundreds of thousands of buildings. So that's all of us, okay? And if you're a renter or you lease space, you can do this too. I want you to do three things. I want you to benchmark your building. How much energy does it use per square foot? That's number one. Number two, I want you to make a 5-year plan to improve on whatever your benchmarking results are. And number three, when you go to make changes in the building, I need you to tweak the expertise that's at the table when the time comes. So let's go through that really quick. The benchmarking piece. Go to Energy Star, Portfolio Manager, and I want you to look up your building type, right? Bowling alleys, office buildings, medical buildings, warehouses. Find yourself. Click on that and look across the values. There's going to be 3 values. 25th percentiles, that's the low performers. Those are the ones where you're not great at this. There's the median value and there's the 75th percentile, okay? And I want you to have done your calculations and figure out where you are on that scale. Now, what do you need for that calculation? Because there isn't a listing there for single-family homes. So, if you own a single-family home, listen up, because all of you are going to need the following. You're going to need to know how big your building is. That's number one. Number two, you're going to need to know how much energy you used in the last 12 months, electrical or otherwise. So go get all your data, whether it's bills or whatever, bring them to the table. You're going to need that number. Number three, you're going to need a website or a physics reference that's going to help you convert various units of energy back and forth to various units of energy. Because some kinds of energy comes in kilowatt hours, some kinds of energy comes in joules, some kinds of energy comes in BTUs. You're going to want to be able to swap those numbers around because you're going to look for a single unit. So those are the 3 major ingredients. And homeowners, you're going to have to do this one on the back of an envelope, because I haven't run into the tool yet, and I'm sure my guess is there's probably a half a dozen tools out there that you can plug these numbers in and make it happen. It's probably more than that. That's step one. Step two was, I want you to make a plan. Here are the targets I want you to hit. Number one, if you're in the 25th percentile, I'm sorry, but there's a lot you can do. And what I want you to do is make a plan to go from the 25th percentile to the 75th percentile, right? Become really good at this. Now, where do you go for that information? Energy Star has a list. You can go over it. It'll make a list of what you can do for lighting, what you can do for plug loads, what you can do for heating and cooling your spaces, what you can do for water heating, right? Awesome. Heads up to everybody doing this, there's some very significant stuff missing in the space heating and cooling section that I'm going to really elaborate on, because there is untapped potential in there. And to all my policy folks in Plan A and Plan B, give me a call. Give me a call. This is untapped potential. All right. Yeah, what I want you to do, go in the links down there, and there's a link there to reach out to me. Make an appointment, get on the phone and say, what the heck are you talking about? You're being silly, preposterous. It's a long shot. We'll have a good conversation at the very least. If you're a big building owner, or if you're multiple property owners, expertise is going to be needed to sort of figure out how to get up there. So that's the package of things you can do. So your target, if you're 25%, is to get to 75%. Once you get there, you're with the rest of the C students. So if you're at the 75th percentile, here's your target. Become an A student. Get into the 92nd percentile. Figure out what your energy footprint is. Figure out what your emissions footprint is. Cut it in half. You heard me. Cut it in half. And do it without going into austerity mode. Do it without spending 10% over the money you might spend anyway on any kind of capital projects you've got coming up in the next 6 months to 5 years. I'll bet you can do it for 1% to 2% if you have to do it over the costs at all. Okay? So that's your targets. Third, when you engage your architectural crew, however it is that you go about these things, I need you to be prepared to bring on another person into that mix. I need to emphatically ask you not to leave the question of energy consumption per square foot, really reducing it to us architects exclusively. Do not leave this up to us. What I'd like you to do in your preliminary conversations with us is to state out loud, energy performance is crucial to the success of this project. When you develop the scope of work for us to engage in our contract with you, you have a line item that says, energy performance is crucial to the success of this project. And do not let us leave the schematic design portion of our design, which is the earliest phases of design in the architectural industry, for those of you who don't know, without having a robust conversation about exactly how we're going to reduce energy consumption against benchmarks in the design and construction of your project. I want the Passive House certifier at that table. There's many good reasons to bring a Passive House certifier on board no matter what. And there are many reasons to get your building Passive House certified no matter what. Bring them to the table. They're at the schematic design discussions about energy. For everything but single family home, make sure that my electrical engineers at the table and my mechanical engineers at the table so that we can all have that conversation together. If you're in a single family home design problem, then I strongly encourage you as the owner of the project to pay to have an electrician at the table and to have a mechanical contractor at the table when we have these discussions, and a Passive House certifier at the table. So that is the first part of this preposterous long shot plan. It could work. It could work.